My job as a musician is not to find a cozy spot, build a house and live there and retire. The other day I was at a Bad Bunny concert and watching him perform at home. And I don't even think I made it halfway through the concert. I was like, I'm going home, I gotta go work. The truth is I ran away from religion. I've been running from religion my whole life. My mom forced me into it. I can't escape my connection to God. I'm probably 5 minutes into the show and I go to say a word and I lose my breath.
What's up, everybody? You're watching Baked on Stoked. My name is Marvin Game from West Berlin, and I'm honored to introduce my guest today. We got one of the most successful independent artists in the world in the building, Ghetto Lenny Kravitz from New York. SAINt JHN, how you doing?
What's happening, gang?
Nice to see you. Good to have you here.
Likewise.
And I got my bro Gio in the kitchen, as usual. What dish did you wish for?
Mussels.
Mussels.
Yeah.
Mussels.
Mousses. How do you say that?
Muskeln.
Nein.
No. Muscheln.
Muscheln.
Muschel.
Muskeln is mussels and Muscheln is the mussels.
Muscheln.
Muscheln. Yeah.
How do you say I want mussels?
Ich will Muscheln.
Ich will Muscheln.
So how you gonna prepare the mussels for us?
I got them in the fridge. I will steam them with white wine. And because John don't eat milk, I want to make with double cream, but we don't. It's like with, how we say it, celery?
Yeah, celery.
Celery, carrots, shallots, some garlic, and thyme. Thyme. We will steam it in white wine, and that's it.
I love that.
Yeah, it's
now,
an easy dish.
I don't drink.
Okay.
So when you actually cook it in the white wine,
Yeah.
it burns off all the actual alcohol,
all
right?
of it, yeah, it will
So
evaporate.
It just ends up being the flavor of,
Yeah,
but it's not alcoholic.
it's no alcohol.
You see what I'm saying? Keep it G.
The whole alcohol is gonna
Yeah,
evaporate.
Evaporate.
Yeah.
Well, I heard you mainly eat fish and fruit. Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I'm pescatarian, and I live in Puerto Rico, so
Oh, so you get fresh food all the
yes,
time, right?
all the fresh stuff.
So did you try out other diets until you found out that's the one?
No, I just knew I wanted to cut out meat. I knew it was really simple. I just wanted to improve the process, the way my body works.
Yeah.
I wanted a simpler process so my machine could run in the most extreme way to do all the things that I needed to do so I can be as strong and most lean, the most tolerant, the greatest amount of stamina. So I wanted something that was easy for my body to be able to move through, like the best gasoline.
Yeah. So can you, before we sit down for the interview, can you put us on one food spot in New York City where you lived a long time of your life that you can recommend for people that they might not know yet?
Oh, that's so tough. So they used to have, I'm from Brooklyn, but I'm about to say something crazy. There was a Senegalese food spot. My homie Dixon knows over there, and it's in Harlem, and it's one of my favorite little food spots where you can go get like chilo frito. I'm speaking Spanish. My Puerto Ricans living in.
What's chilo frito?
It's fried fish.
Okay.
What's the name of it, Dixon?
Africa.
That's the name of the restaurant?
African.
That might be the name. He might be making that up because he's on the spot. I don't remember the name, but that's one of my favorite spots for sure. They'll put it like somewhere in the link in the bio.
All right.
For sure.
Okay, well then we're gonna let Gio do his magic and we're gonna sit down on the couch.
All right, Gio.
Let's get it.
Do your work, my dog.
Ready?
I'm empty inside some lungs. I don't know who to tell. I might wanna cry sometimes, but who feels sorry, come and help. I don't wanna tell my lies.
But you're not living in New York no more, you already said that.
Yeah, I live in Puerto Rico now.
Puerto Rico. When did you move there?
3 years ago. End of 2021. Yeah.
So what's the biggest difference? What's the biggest change that happened in your life from moving there?
There's some things that are probably obvious, but I think the biggest changes are the smallest things, like the daily routine. My details are different.
Well, how did your routine or your details change?
Well, right before that, I was living in Miami, and right before that, I was living in LA. I was in Miami for like 9 months, so nobody even knew I was living in Miami. I was sort of in and out. And before that, I was in LA for a couple years, and my life in Puerto Rico was simpler. I'm out of the public eye. I'm just off the radar, just living like I'm living in the bush.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not in the bush because I live in San Juan, but my daily life, although I'm a musician and I make art and I design clothes, but it's not as a musician. I'm not going outside like, yo, SAINt JHN outside. It's not cameras flashing. It's nothing fancy. It's me and my truck, my little Jeep Wrangler with the top off or sometimes with the doors off. And I'm going to the market to get fruits. So I'm going to my guy Manny to get coconut water.
That's probably also so different if you live in, I only know it from vacation, but when I'm in Berlin, I go to grocery stores and I will get a coconut brand from whatever, a coconut water from any brand that I find. But if you got a guy that actually sells you the fresh coconut water,
Yeah, I got a guy.
he will become your friend for sure.
That's my dog. I got a guy. Actually, I owe him $40 right now. Last time I went to him, which was like 3 days before I left, I ain't have no cash. He was like, you Gucci. He just gave me like 3 coconuts and then I took 2 gallons because I buy my coconut water by the gallons. So I'll pull up to the truck, he'll be busting them open and he'll just be making them, like, you know, filling up the gallon jugs and I buy 5 of them at a time. And I'll give out some to my friends, like literally. I'm like, you know, in the movies or in a show, the milk guy, at least in America, he come and bring the milk to your doorstep.
Yeah.
So I'll do that with coconut water
The
for my
coconut
friends.
guy now, wow. That's a good, I wish I had a coconut guy in my circle, man. Coconut water, that's the shit. But did Puerto Rico have any influence on your music? Did that change?
Yeah.
In what ways?
I want it to be louder.
Because the city is maybe not louder than the other cities you lived in before, but it's a different loud.
It's a different loud. The music in Puerto Rico has so much momentum. When I say momentum, like it just makes you want to move.
Yeah, but people dance a lot.
They
there
dance.
too.
All they do is, everything makes you want to dance. So when I got there and I started going outside, it just started sort of getting into my bloodstream, the things that made me want to move, go faster and go somewhere I hadn't gone. I didn't want to stay in my house. I didn't want to be in my bedroom or sit in my living room and
The
go through
Explorer
the
came
things.
out.
Yeah, so the type of music that it made me want to make is a much more, compared to what I'd previously made, an aggressive tone. And that music isn't necessarily aggressive, but that was my interpretation of it. Me filtering it through my art system and my creativity made me want to make things that were urgent, that felt immediate, that felt almost too sudden.
You mean before you moved there or when you moved there?
After I moved
Okay,
there.
yeah.
Because I don't really go to the club, but when you go to the club in Puerto Rico and all you hear is things at a higher tempo or faster pace, and I pretend like whatever world that I'm not in, that whatever world isn't my daily world, in my mind I pretended before like it didn't exist. So if it's not part of my life on a regular basis, it just don't exist.
Yeah.
And when I got to Puerto Rico, I saw another version of life that existed that I'd completely ignored. And it became a part of my world and I got to understand it. And I started to love it. And it made me open my palette even more musically in a way that might have already been there, but it kind of lay dormant. Something that I ignored. Something, now I'd like to use it. Like, now I want it to be at the forefront.
I mean, you also lived and grew up in another part of South America, right?
Guyana.
Guyana, that's,
Yeah.
Can you compare these two places to each other in some type of way?
In a way, because they're both tropical, they're both Caribbean. But Guyana is English speaking. Puerto Rico is Spanish speaking.
Okay.
Guyana, Puerto Rico, they dance, but Guyana, is a different type of festive. They're more open in Guyana.
How does that show?
I think it's just in the personalities of the people, in the colorful nature of where I'm from. And it could also be because I'm at home there. I'm really at home
Oh yeah. You mean in
Guyana.
Okay.
Puerto Rico is where I live, so it's
Yeah.
become my home. But the thing that's home in my soul and my spirit, it's always going to be Georgetown, Guyana.
Well, how would you define home? That's a big word.
The place I feel is safest,
Okay.
and the place that I long for, a place that I make plans to come back to, even if I don't get there soon or I don't get there quickly enough.
No, that makes sense.
A place that I feel like no matter how old I am, I still have a future there.
Oh, that's a good one. There's always a future no matter what. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's home. Crazy. But places is only one piece of the big inspiration pie. I could tell that faith is also playing a big role in your music or is inspiring parts of your art, like your first album cover was a straight cross. Also, your name is the Saint. So which part does faith or religion play in your life?
It's heavy, heavy, heavy infused through everything that I do. Most people that consume my music, I'm not saying most people in the world, whoever knows me, most of them don't realize my real name is St. John.
Yes.
They think it's some cool thing that I made up. I'm not cool enough to make that up. I couldn't have made that up. I didn't even think it was cool. There wasn't no fly shit.
Yeah. It was just your name, and you
It's
went
my
out.
name. My name is Carlos St. John Phillips. And when I was going to school, first of all, I'm a black kid. I'm growing up between Guyana and Brooklyn, and my first name is Carlos. So I'm telling, it was hard explaining that to people. That's hard enough. I'm not Jamaican, I'm not Dominican, I'm not Puerto Rican. These are the 3 Caribbean islands that make sense to them. I'm Guyanese, but it's South America, it's landlocked, but I'm a Caribbean country. It was so confusing that I was like, no, I'm not gonna add to this by telling you my name is St. John. So I was like 20 years old before I even said St. John out loud.
I mean, Carlos Phillips would also work.
It could have worked.
It would have been a way different character.
A whole other person, right?
Yeah.
And it was. But by the time I said, look, here's the truth. Let me stop hiding. I guess in some ways I stopped hiding. My name is St. John. It was Carlos St. John, and I dropped the Carlos so we could just get straight to the point.
Yeah.
But you asked me about faith.
Yes.
It's hard to avoid. I was raised Catholic. My mom named all of her sons saint names. That's why my name is St. John. My brother's name is St. Joseph. My other brother is St. Anthony.
Okay.
So there's a real through line that had nothing to do with me. There were things that I was born into. So my mom is a minister, and her mom was a master in metaphysics. Or she had her master's in metaphysics, and my mom followed suit. So it's been religion, because poor people use religion to answer questions that they can only ask in the mirror. So traditionally, from generation to generation to generation, it's passed down. And I'm the newest and latest iteration of what religion means. So when my grandmother, being hyper-religious, passed it to my mother became a minister and would counsel people and had her own church. And in my iteration, it's the Church of St. John. And you see it on the back of my leather jackets. And you see the crosses in my music and on my art. The truth is I ran away from religion. I've been running from religion my whole life. My mom forced me into it. We went to church, we were Seventh-day Adventist, Baptist, Pentecostal. She forced it on me.
I guess a lot of young people growing up running away from it if it's being forced on them.
For sure.
Did you find your way back to it?
It was inescapable. I didn't even know I found my way back to it. It repositioned itself in my art, in my DNA. You hear it in my music. You hear me longing for answers.
Yeah.
I can't hide whatever I am. But if you can't see it, I'm not gonna make it a point to spend a lot of time showing it to you. I'm just trying to live my true life. But I've definitely fought organized religion for a long time because it feels like a form of control. It doesn't feel like you're helping me with my connection to God.
It's also like there's 2 pairs of shoes. One is religion or forced religion, and one is faith. That's
Absolutely.
what I always say. Like both got a lot of beauty in it, but faith is the one that's so much easier to go through. Because religion a lot of times comes with dogma or comes with so many rules and so many obligations that you got to go through that it just, especially as a teenager, you just don't want to go through them.
Yeah, it's so much hell and brimfire. There's so much, if you don't do this, you're gonna go to hell. If you don't do that, you know, you're gonna be in purgatory for life. So I ran away from religion because it felt like a prison. But my faith is so ever present that it keeps reaffirming itself in everything I do. I'm not even being intentional at this point. I wasn't even being intentional when I used the cross as my logo because it was just true to me. It was just sincere to me. But I keep trying to recontextualize it for myself because I'm living a real life and my experience with God is super real. Like it's evident in how far I've come and what I've been able to do without having a ton of resources or not being a Nepo baby by having somebody hand me something that they'd earned. I just dreamt my way and believed my way and manifested my way into something that I know for a fact that the God that I believe in put me in a place to communicate so that more people can find. But I try not to preach, but you can hear it in my music. It's kind of obvious. You hear me talking about strippers, but it's because I'm wrestling with the things that excite me and the things that lead me. Strippers and God. I know what I believe in. would I know what I'm living through?
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be so contradictive. You know, it's like it's all part of life. And some people might see religion as a problem. Other people might see strippers as the problem. But it
I
can,
think more people probably see strippers as a problem, right?
well, no,
But-
I think nowadays there's also a lot of people having problems with religion because of all this stuff around it. I think nobody has a problem with faith and
Yeah.
having a connection with God. And I think that to create so much and that type of art, there got to be some type of connection to a higher power
Yes.
that speaks through you.
It's extreme.
Yes. Is that,
And
do you feel it when you make music?
Yeah. Oftentimes, I don't show people my creative process. So the few people who get to see it is surprising for them. Because I'm a writer and I write songs for other people. That's how I started. That's how I really got my break. That's how my engine got going. But when you watch me write, I'm just saying what I believe. Most of the time, about 97% of the time, I don't write it down before. I don't even know what I'm about to say.
No.
I don't even listen to the beat before you put it on. I just want to hear it and I want to instinctually say what I
Being
believe.
the pure channel.
I'm just channeling my experiences, my hopes, my beliefs, my ambition, and it's just coming through. I can't escape my faith. I can't escape my connection to God.
I think the biggest achievement you can have with music is that if somebody listens to it, he's inspired by it. Inspired to become better, greater, or to actually create music themselves.
Yeah.
Do you remember the last time that happened to you? When you listened to a song and was like, damn, I gotta go to the studio and create now.
That happens all the time because I'm competitive.
You remember like one of the last couple times, one song, maybe something that nobody would guess?
What comes to mind in a more obvious way was like the other day I was at a Bad Bunny concert and watching him perform at home.
No.
And I don't even think I made it halfway through the concert. I was like, I'm going home, I gotta go work.
Yeah, I bet seeing that, especially, was it in Puerto Rico?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I heard he just put out an album that is very political and it's a big topic there right now, right?
Yeah, I don't speak enough Spanish to be able to understand it, but as it gets translated to me, yeah. It's definitely hometown hero, hometown culture, hometown album. The music is for the people of the country.
That's crazy that one of the biggest artists in the world is making that type of album instead of just
More
creating
pop music?
More pop
Instead of
music, yeah.
more-
A lot of respect for that.
Instead of more random, meaningless nothing, I think it's cool.
Yeah.
I think if you making art, you're an artist. Our responsibility as artists is to lead. That doesn't mean people always follow, but our job is to lead. We take the task of going where people don't venture often or people are afraid to go. I was telling somebody this the other day because I'm making music in a way that people hadn't really heard or seemed surprising based on whatever my previous bodies of work have been. And I told somebody this, my job as a musician is not to find a cozy spot, build a house and live there and retire.
Yeah. It's probably the opposite of that.
My job is to find somewhere we don't go often, create a structure, abandon it and leave it for you to occupy and continue going. I'm nomadic, I have to be, because I'm still searching for something. There's still something I'm longing for. I'm still on a quest, there's a whole journey. I'm not at the end of my journey. I'm not even in the middle of my journey.
Well, I think the journey ends when the lights go off.
When the lights go off, that's when it's done. Until then, I'm chopping trees, I'm saving bananas, I'm cutting up mangoes, I'm clearing the path, and I don't give a fuck who's behind me. I care what's in front of me.
Well, I guess that's a leader's mentality. That's what you that type of mentality, what you need to get your art out there and to get people to follow you and to listen to you. The list of artists that you work with goes on and on and on, and you also worked with Lenny Kravitz.
Yeah.
So what came first, the Lenny Kravitz feature or the name Ghetto Lenny?
Ghetto Lenny.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
I guess. I mean, it's kind of obvious if you look at the way you
Yeah.
dress and stuff, but how did you perceive his comeback last year with Blue Electric?
First of all, Lenny's ever present. I don't know that that's a comeback.
Well, I mean,
If he
I guess for the people who are not so in tune with everything he's doing, I think the last album was a little while ago before that.
He's too legendary. So for me, look, you're talking to me, not the public. It didn't feel like a comeback. It felt like,
Oh, Lenny.
Lenny pressed go again. He just pressed go again on this sport because he never stops creating. He's designing furniture. He's in clothing. He's doing all types of things.
Yeah.
I've been to his crib. I know what I'm looking at his how he thinks of art. So, and I'm sure he's always making music. So he just decided to let people in. So for me, that's not a comeback.
Yeah.
It's not like he'd been away, he disappeared off the planet
No, it was
without
just,
making anything.
for the public, it was a musical comeback, though.
Yeah.
But I see your point for sure.
Yeah, I'm a fan of him as a human being. So whatever he's doing, I'm with.
Yeah, very inspiring.
Yeah.
Also the videos. He had that one video for, I think it was the first single of the album where he's completely naked. And
Yo,
just dancing.
he's like the only person that could do that. I swear, I'm gonna do a naked video too, right? Because when we did our video together, I 100% was like, I'm not letting Lenny kill me in this video. I'm gonna body him, abs on 4,000. And he wasn't playing either. He was like, look, Santo, I got you. Because he showed up. He's always in premium shape. I don't know what he eats. I don't know what the fuck he does. I don't know. He figured it out. I thought I figured it out. And then I met him. Lenny's like 60.
Yeah, he's been doing it a little bit longer.
Bro, got me.
Yeah. Well, if you can see somebody like that at 60, it's also very inspirational, motivation. Because you see a lot of 60-year-old people out there not living their best life,
No.
just being sick and just kind of already giving up on life. Maybe you got 30 more years to go, but you're already giving up.
It's hard to be older and still be great. There are too many realities, too many small intricacies of life, like the minute details of life.
Yeah.
They cost you energy, momentum. They cost you self-belief. They cost you time. They cost you courage,
Trust.
trust.
Yeah.
So to be 60, you know that expression, keep the same energy? You know how people think it's a figure of speech? It's just some cool shit to say. It's to be taken literal. Keep that same energy. The thing, it's always misused. It's always used in a way to tell somebody, yo, remember how you treated me? Keep that same energy. But what it really is designed for, remember when you first started, whatever you first started, what you really wanted to do, the ambition you went into it with? The energy, the drive, the lust, the
Yeah.
demanding, that's the anxiety that I gotta make it happen. Keep that same energy. They never tell it to you the way it's really designed to be used. That's what it is. He keeps the same energy. All of my favorite people keep the same energy, and it's not for hate, it's not for revenge.
It's probably for love. Love is also a very big word.
For sure, but it might be self-love.
Yeah.
Keep that same energy.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of that. I make it a point to practice that, keeping the same energy I've been on. Doesn't mean I'm staying the same, but my energy is the same. I want all the things that I want even more now than I wanted them before. They're not material neither.
How do you maintain it? Like, how do you not lose the trust, lose the faith, get into doubt about it?
I think you have to go through all of those cycles. That's a part of the human experience.
For sure. Like going through the doubt, losing faith, finding it again is great.
Yeah.
That's probably how you recharge the energy too.
For sure, because if you don't have doubt, you have to examine yourself. Is it good enough? Am I good enough? Not because you don't think it's possible you're good enough, but you want to make sure you're presenting yourself in a way that you really are who you say you are.
Yeah.
And in some ways, that introduces the concept or the idea of doubt. I might be doubting myself. Some of us are too fragile to ask ourselves, is it good enough? Is this fly? Is this honest? Maybe it's not. Let me do it better.
When you started writing for other people, was that maybe also because you wasn't sure that you as an artist are good enough? Or was it just the key, just the entrance?
No, it was just the key. I'd failed. I'd failed. I was putting out music as an artist and it wasn't resonating and nothing had connected. And an opportunity came and I took the opportunity as a door opening. Because when I first started putting out music myself, I just had wild ambitions and I didn't have any process or understanding. I didn't have a skill. I had a dream.
Yeah, but the skill you had to develop by failing.
The failure developed the skill for me. When I realized whatever I was doing didn't connect, and then I wrote a song for a friend of mine, and that song ended up allowing me to be introduced to somebody in the music space that was a real executive, the first executive I ever met. Shout out to Zach Katz. He told me come to LA. I went to LA for 2 months. He said, write these songs for Rihanna. I tried to write the songs. They didn't go. She never heard the songs. They weren't good enough. But just a little bit of hope that he introduced me to, that it's possible for you to do something at a scale that you didn't know was possible, allowed a corridor of hope to open up and introduced me to a place that I knew it was possible for me to hone something. If I stayed long enough, I would get good enough, and it wouldn't just become a possibility, it'd be a probability. So I went from possibility to probability. And when I realized, I became good enough. I wasn't good enough at first. Failed and failed and failed and failed for a couple of years, but I was getting better. So I failed a little bit less, and my falls were softer. So when I finally connected writing songs for people, one thing happened, one really distinct thing happened.
And that was what?
I wrote a couple songs for some people, and I sold the songs. And then as I was getting better as a songwriter and growing in accolades, and growing in reputation, I went to this A&R one day and I was playing in my songs. I was like, yo, this, for whoever the artist was at the time. And they looked at me and they said, yo, I can't take this record. I was like, why? And they said, yo, it sounds too much like you. And it took me, no lie, the truth is, the cycle between me hearing that and then understanding completely what that meant took 12 months.
That's a great compliment.
It was an incredible compliment, but it wasn't at first because I didn't know how to receive it. I was angling for something, so that was rejection. He said, I can't take it, it sounds too much like you. And it took 12 months before the process of understanding that meant I was back to a place where I had complete identity. In writing songs for other people, you end up writing through their voice. You lose your own, you lose your tone, you lose your truth, you lose your essence. You keep dreaming through somebody else's dreams. You dream through somebody else's avatar.
Yeah. That's how I feel about writing or ghostwriting too. Like a lot of people lose their own path while writing for other people.
Absolutely, it happens all the time. So when I realized my spirit, soul, and body had collapsed back into one form, I was like, oh shit, it sounds too much like me. Oh, I got it, I'm back. And I didn't look back. From then, there was nothing else to discuss. I was 100% on my path.
Crazy. So once you found yourself through the process of working for others, it's also inspirational. Okay, well, the list of artists you work with goes on and on and on and on forever. But if you could make a song with a fictional character from a movie, a cartoon, a game, whatever, who would that be?
Fictional, James Bond.
James Bond.
James Bond.
What would that song be about?
Hopefully not about dying, because in all the movies there's always a dying theme.
I mean, you can make a song about life.
It'd be dangerous. The song would have to be dangerous. It'd be dangerous and it would be sharp.
And what do you think, how would James Bond perform? Like, would he sing? Would he rap?
Nah, he would sing.
Sing, like high pitch?
Nah, I think he would have a mid-range and he would have a lower tone. I think I was just thinking of like an actual singer. Nah, he'd be a lower tone. I think he'd be in his sexy bag.
Yeah, for sure.
He'd be in his sexy bag and it would just feel normal. I think he'd be singing from a tuxedo too.
Yeah, there's no way around.
Yeah.
He got to. Well, I like asking that question. It's really gets me such funny answers sometimes from. I asked Doechii last time and she said she wants to do a song with Sideshow Bob.
Yo, that's wild.
Like some double time murder shit. That was really
That's funny.
From fictional music, let's come to some real music. You recently put out a couple new songs and announced a new project. Is that right? So is that the highly anticipated Collection 2?
It's part of it.
It's part of it.
Yeah, so Collection 2, it's been 4 years since I put out a full body of work. I've grown in all types of phenomenal ways, and it wouldn't be fair for Collection 2 to be one body of work. Collection 2 has to represent a season of my life at this point. Collection 2 is broken up between festival season and Fake Tears from a Pop Star.
Fake Tears from a Pop Star.
And they live on opposing sides of the fence. So on festival season, you're hearing urgency, you're hearing me paint on a new canvas. So I went from painting water pastels on silk canvas, because it was always beautiful, And now I'm painting on rocks and zinc and abandoned cars. And if all you want to do is hang a pretty portrait up in your living room, then when you see me painting on rocks, you go, I don't get it. I don't know why he's doing this. Why won't he just entertain me? My life ain't for your fucking entertainment. I get that it's entertaining if it's entertaining. I get that it's rewarding if it's rewarding, or moving if it's moving. But I wasn't put on this planet to make you dance. My God ain't made sure that my mother suffered for years and years so I could survive and carry on her legacy so that you could dance better.
Well, you think that's what the audience expects from you?
I think parts of what any audience that becomes a consistent fan base, like part of it.
Part of it, yeah. Because they grow up
Expects-
with the feeling they have to the music.
Yeah. Part of it is they expect you to be a creative vending machine. They need you to be a cure for their boredom.
Yeah.
And I get that because I'm a consumer too, and I'm a fan of people that I care about. But I need my artists to lead me. I need them to go where I haven't gone. They need to get there before I get there. I need them to venture to places that I'm afraid to go and I'm uncomfortable to go, or I just haven't visited yet. All of my favorite artists have done something I didn't want them to do because I wasn't ready to do it yet.
Yeah.
And when I arrived at the point where I understood why they did what they did, it was long after it happened. And I went, you fucking legend.
And that's probably where you got the good artists and the great artists.
Yeah.
Where they, where that gets obvious.
Yeah. You have to be willing to risk their short-term satisfaction for the need for you to grow and continue to envision the rest of the planet. As I was making collection 1, Ghetto Lenny's Love Songs While the World Was Burning, I went from a tiny canvas to a medium-sized canvas to a slightly larger medium-sized canvas. But I still haven't arrived at the canvas where I'm painting on the world, on the buildings the way that I want to.
So you had to go back to start with the rocks and figure out all types of ways so you would be prepared to do it on the biggest canvas ever.
I'm back on the rocks, and it's disruptive. And some people don't like it, but I think that's a part of it. I think that has to happen.
Yeah. It's also part of your growth at the end to deal with the feedback.
Yeah, I think that's healthy. I think if you don't like some shit, say you don't like it, fuck it.
Yeah.
I hate that. I think that's dope. Because we're in the freest time in society, at least digitally. I don't know what the future looks like. I have no idea how much more scary it's gonna get, and I know how crazy and restricted the past was. But right now, it's the Wild Wild West. Say what you feel, fuck it, I get it.
Yeah.
Troll people on the comments. But I gotta follow the art. My job is to see something you don't see. I don't care whether you don't see it. And it's not because I don't respect what you see. It's just because I have to be loyal to a vision of mine. The same guy that you trusted to do all the other things you love, you gotta trust him when you don't love what he's doing. Because that's what it means to care about an artist, to care about the art. Unless you just care about the result.
Yeah, or about the feeling you want to have.
Right.
Like, I want you to do this one song 25 times over the next 10 years for me.
Correct.
Because I heard that one song and I loved it so much and you made me feel something and I just want to feel it again.
And I understand
so
that.
make that song again.
And that's, you know what, that's valid too. That's
Kind of.
valid. That's valid because you gave them something and the hope for something.
Yeah.
But it's unfair for them to think that you're supposed to live in the box that they've provided
Yeah.
to you.
Like, of course it's understandable, but
Sure.
with a little reflection, every person should come to the point where they understand that every artist has to grow.
Everybody has to grow. And everybody who's scared to grow gets left behind.
Even if you're not doing it,
not
maybe you
growing-
have 1, 2, 3 albums that work out, but at a certain point it just wears off.
If you're not growing, you're dying.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, so I'm explaining, festival season is extroverted. It's loud, it's brash, it's painting on rocks, it's painting on zinc. It's more obnoxious than you've heard because that's the place that I've been in. I want you to move. I don't just want you to moan. I don't just want you to long. I want you to feel things in an aggressive, sharp way. I need you outside of your house. I need you outside of the circumference of your comfort zone. I'd like you to leave your bedroom, leave your work break, leave your car, leave your really small community of friends that make you feel really safe, and come meet me on this field with this army of people who just want to feel free. And that's where I'm going.
Okay.
While Fake Tears from a Pop Star is really sentimental.
I mean, the title.
It's really emotional. It's extremely melodic. And in lots of ways, I'm crying out.
And the songs you dropped right now are parts of festival season.
Yeah.
So Body on Me is also part of that.
Body, you can hear, there's a language. So you hear Body on Me, and then you hear glitching, and then you hear popping. There's an action. I'm clearly seeking action because that's what I want. I'm trying to evoke something specific. That's my intention. I've never made it a part of my communication and making my art to tell you what you should feel. And I've never done an extreme version of telling you what I really feel as I'm making it.
There's room for interpretation.
Yes,
Right.
but that's what I'm doing. But Fake Tears from a Pop Star has probably all of the things that you've already expected from me, but the completion of both of them together in the same cycle should give you a lot more clear of a picture of who I am in identity, in sound, in structure, the things that I'm wrestling with. Fake Tears from a Pop Star, even in the title, when somebody becomes someone you celebrate on stage, when they're crying, you're clapping.
Ooh. Yeah, I heard you say a quote on another song though. You said nobody wants to see a rich cry.
Yeah, nobody want to see a rich nigga cry.
Why that?
That's the truth, because you don't feel sorry for them. They no longer become human, they become some elevated version.
Any tear is fake.
It's
Like,
fake.
Even though it might be the realest tears they've ever cried,
It's fake.
but yeah,
For
for the people it's fake because they're
Yeah.
so far away. They're not with the people anymore. It's
Correct.
a superstar, machine, robot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So even if I'm on stage and I'm going through something and I'm singing a song that hurts me because music is cathartic to me. Music is therapy for me. I make music. I make so many songs every day because it heals me. It's part of the thing that allows me to thrive and become a better human. I've never done therapy. I go to the mic and I tell my truth.
It's one of the purest forms of therapy.
Yeah.
I mean, in therapy, all you do is talk.
Correct.
So if
I'm
you
talking and-
got your outlet in the music and also can put it into beautiful melodies, yeah, that's the most beautiful way of therapy.
Correct. So as I'm making this music in Fake Tears, I realize I'm clear on this, that when I'm standing on that stage and I'm telling my truth, even when it hurts me, you never think of me as human. You think of it as performative because of the platform I have. So even when I'm wrestling with my demons, it's just a good performance to you. And I get that. I accept it. There's a part of me that understands genuinely that in order to get my art to a place that the world has seen it, you sacrifice a part of your humanity.
Yep.
Not that I become less human, but I become perceived as less of a human.
Yes.
I think that's what happens to people when they become sensational in any way. Part of their humanity suffers. You're not a person. You stump your, what you mean you lost your toe? You rich, you could buy a toe. What you need 10 toes for?
Because that's when you never had money, you think money would solve every problem in the world.
For sure, I for sure did.
Another way you communicate or bring your art to the people is the music videos, especially like the Body on Me video. How much are you involved in the visual production?
Most of the time, it's only me. Most
So-
of the time, it's been, so all of my, maybe 90% of my previous videos has just been me. It's purely been an idea I had or something someone suggested and I developed the idea more. These are the first times that I've submitted myself to the idea that somebody does this better than I do, and I want to go somewhere I haven't gone. So I'm going to do something I haven't done. I'm going to surrender to the idea that you're brilliant. All I wanted to do was find somebody who was brilliant in a space and get out their way. I want to get out your way. If you're a legend in your space, I'm not going to direct the director. I don't want to do that anymore.
But you did it in the past.
For sure I've done it in
You
the
had
past.
like such a clear vision of yourself.
Yeah. But I have such DNA
That now
exists.
yes.
I want somebody who's just brilliant. So I went to Alex. I found Alex on the Canada website in alphabetical order. That's the director that did Body on Me, Glitching, and Circles. In alphabetical order, I was like, I'm just gonna go down there. First of all, I was stalking Rosalia. That's the truth, but not like stalking her personally, like her art.
Yes.
I was looking like she has the most phenomenal art direction. So I just wanted to start with the person I thought was the most sensational creative that I could see or that I could find.
Yeah.
I was like, who's doing everything? Who's the additional genius behind this? And I saw Canada, and I just went on their site. That's the production company. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna go alphabetical order. Who is it? Who it is? And I started with Alex, and I got stuck. I was just at A.
Yeah.
I didn't even get to go too far. I was like, this guy's incredible. And then I reached out, I just DM'd him. I was like, yo, fam. I didn't wait for my manager or my agent or whoever that's supposed to do it. I just hit him like, yo, can we talk? I love your work. You down to talk? And we got on the phone. He was in Spain, I was in Puerto Rico. Yeah, he's in Barcelona, that's where he lives. And I said, look, I'm working on this collection called Festival Season. And I don't know if you know any of my work, but it doesn't matter. Maybe it's better you don't know my work. And I'm gonna send you the entire collection. And I just want you to tell me what you love and what you don't love. And if you love something, let's work on it. If you don't love it, let's not work on that. I just want to get out your way because I think you're brilliant. You don't need me to do anything for you, but I just want to be a part of your legacy. And he said, yo, I love these songs. He picked a bunch of songs he loved. And I said, all right, cool. That makes it easy. Well, let's start with the things that I think are just as loud as I want to be and as bold as I want to be and communicate where Festival Season lives. Because Festival Season is a collection that you really have to hear it live.
I guess, I mean, the title implies it.
Yeah, you need to hear it live.
I found an article online about a tour in 2020 that you had to cancel. Why was that? What was the big why for that?
I was suffering from anxiety for the first time. And I think even now, I'm getting a grip to even say this out loud. I didn't know it was anxiety. I'd never experienced that before. I never had that type of trauma in my life. I felt like really, really prepared for that tour. I was so prepared, over prepared. I was training. I got my merchandise down to a science. I understood my routing. We were perfecting the cost of how much to put together the tour so it could be my first profitable tour. I was consumed in every part of my business and the creative. I did my own musical direction. I was just so zeroed in that I was overwhelmed and my body told me, stop. I didn't know. I went to do a show. I don't remember what city we were in. Dixon, you remember what city we were in? Was it Copenhagen? We were in Copenhagen. Because we had just done Norway, right? We just did Oslo. I remember being on stage in Oslo. And this has never happened before, and it hasn't happened since, thank God. I'm probably 5 minutes into the show, 6 minutes into the show, and I go to say a word, and I lose my breath. Like instead of exhaling, it goes backwards. And I'm turned up with my energy, and nobody could realize what was happening. And all I could do was get out enough breaths to maybe get 3 words out at a time. So I just went along with it. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. My body was failing me. I remember jumping into the crowd. People, I don't know, there were people at the show that still don't know that this happened. I remember going into the crowd, moshing with them because I couldn't breathe, but I didn't want to disappoint them. And I didn't know what was happening. So I'm moshing in the crowd because I'm giving them all the energy I could give because I didn't have any breath for my words to actually be delivered. I remember after the show, I went back into, I've never done this before. I went backstage and I was in fucking tears. I burst into tears and I was just sitting down. Nobody knew what was going on with me. They were like, yo, it was a good show. It looked good to them. My body was failing me and I didn't know what to do. And I was so confused. And I was like, no, I'm gonna push forward. I'm a man. Because as men, especially a black man, you don't get to cry. You don't get to raise your hand and say, I'm broken, I'm hurt. It's fucked up. I don't know what to do. I need help. I didn't know how to say that. No one taught me how to say it. I never had room to say that. So I didn't know it was an option to be that version of broken. Because I thought when you're wounded, the scars are visible. Those are my belief systems.
But mental issues is a whole different.
Absolutely. So we got to Copenhagen the next day. I'm like, I'm gonna fight through this. I'm a real nigga. I'm from Brooklyn. Can't stop me. That's how I'm thinking. Niggas done shot at me. All types of. I'm thinking it because you have to trick yourself into it. Like I've done survived all types of life wars that I'm not gonna get in the way of me. So I'm on stage and I'm doing sound check for Copenhagen. And I'm doing the song that I always do because that's how I know whether I am Leonardo DiCaprio in Inception. When you spin the top, that's how I ground myself because I know when the top stops spinning, I know it's real. So I ground myself when I'm doing Roses. And as I execute that, I'm like, okay, my voice is in the place that it needs to be. My energy's in the place it needs to be, and I'm good to go. And I go to do Roses. And my breath didn't work. I could talk to you like this. And when I went to perform, it was like the reverse reverb out the room. And I was so confused. I was conflicted, I was confused. I remember I tried it again. I was like, yo, give it a second, give it 15 minutes. I'm gonna take a break and come back. The lady was on stage with me. I took a break. I went back, same shit. And I was devastated. I was like, we have to cancel the show. Let's cancel the show. They were lined up outside. The kids were already lined up outside. All the fans were already there. It was around the corner.
It must be a hard decision to it.
It was tough. It was tough.
Because first you want to do it, you prepared for it all, but then it's also all these people out there that will be disappointed.
Yeah.
And will not you're not even understanding it at that point, so how are they supposed to understand?
Correct. I didn't know how to communicate that. And we went to the next city, to I think Amsterdam, or it was somewhere else. Actually, that night I went to a bunch of doctors. We got on the tour bus, we went to the hospital. I went and got all types of EKGs, all types of free European healthcare. Shout out to that, thank you, appreciate that. And we were doing all the tests and everything came back negative. There was nothing to explain it and I never endured it, so I didn't know what it really was. And we tried it in the next city just to give me a break. Maybe I needed a day off. At that time, I was overly consumed with every part of the tour and my social media. I'm managing every part of my life. Even though I have a manager, I'm managing everything, all my creativity, all my processes, my staff on tour. I'm counting the merchandise at the end of the night. I'm taking account of the money. I was just overwhelmed and I didn't know. And I canceled the tour. That was to answer your question. Sorry for a long-winded.
No, thank you for going in so much detail, I think. Because I could only find one small article about it online and wasn't sure what actually happened. But did you find ways on how to deal with if something like that would happen again?
Well, when I left, I canceled the tour, I went straight to Jamaica. And I was like, let me turn my phone off and just live out here. Just for like a week or however long it was. To answer your question, it hasn't returned and I haven't overloaded myself to that degree, but I've come close to it. Even the other morning when I woke up, my heart rate was accelerated and I noticed that. I woke up and I checked my phone right away and it reminded me of something that I experienced exactly around that time period. So it hasn't resurfaced, but I have my eye on it in the event that something ever came back up. I'm overconfident that it was anxiety and I'd never experienced it before.
Yeah, and it probably was the overwhelming too much of it all, right?
Yeah.
So just to keep an eye on that might be the way to never experience it again already. But it must have been a big cut or a big drastic change in your life.
Yeah, and it's hard for somebody that is overly invested in their creative. I creative direct myself. I style myself. I design clothes. I'm shooting my own videos. I damn near do my own casting. I'm sourcing everything that most artists have support, I'm doing by myself. Not because I want to, not because I don't think it's possible. I just don't know where to get help from.
It's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, and the people who have decided to stand next to me along this journey, I feel responsible for the livelihood that I've been able to provide for them, or the lives that they've sacrificed just to be in my life, the time they sacrificed just to be in my life. So I feel like I have to keep making sure it operates at the most premium tier, but I have to take care of myself, and just going to the gym and eating well and making sure my skin is glorious ain't enough. I gotta make sure my mind is the type of sharp, because I say stop when I know it's getting too much or going too far.
Learning when to say stop might be the real lesson then for this.
Yeah.
So I got one last question for here right now, because I heard you say a lot that you knew 10 years ago what was going to happen. You knew 5 years ago what was going to happen. You probably didn't expect the breakdown to happen in 2020. But if we're in 2025 now, so even if it's just a couple of words or a mood, what can you tell me about 2035 and St. John?
The next 10, I don't know what it looks like.
Oh, okay. New era.
Yeah, I don't know.
Not going to look in the future no more.
Look, it'd be really nice to know parts of what's gonna happen, but there are things that have happened that I predicted and things that I did not predict. And growth means that I have to look at the whole movie, not just the parts I want to study. And I know I don't know exactly what happens next. But I'm cautious with the way I spend my time, because I don't know when it ends. I don't know when the book ends. I don't know when the lights go out. I don't want to leave anything undone. So because I don't know and I can't see the next 10 years clearly, I'm going to turn up the volume.
Enjoy the moment.
I'm going to try hard to enjoy it, but I'm going to create the moment even if I can't enjoy it.
Maybe let's create the moment.
Yeah.
You might not be able to create the moment for tomorrow or 10 years, but the moment right now you can create for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to create it. 'Cause I've watched so many things happen and so many people like leave. So many people have left us, and it always feels too short. It's like, yo, how'd that happen? Yeah, he was just here.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Seems to make sense.
Yeah, I didn't think I was going to live past 21. I thought life would be short. So when I moved past that, it became really clear what my future was. And now that I've arrived at this point, by some strain of a miracle, I know I don't know what happens next, but I'm open to all the fortune that's supposed to come my way. And I'll be prepared for all the things that I don't know how to be prepared for.
Well, what the people can definitely be prepared for now is festival season.
Yeah.
Well, that's dropping soon.
Yeah.
And then it's Fake Tears of a Pop Star coming.
Fake Tears from a pop star.
From what? What did I say?
From a pop star.
What did I say?
Fake Tears of a pop star. It's close enough.
It's okay, from a pop star.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make some calls that you will drop that fast.
Yeah, I like that.
Let's get that in, man. Thank you a lot for this conversation. I think Gio is about to be done. And we can get some muscles and some Dr. Sevi muscles.
Yeah, I
Aight,
love
man.
that.
Appreciate the talk, man.
Oh, come
Thank you so much.
man. I'm happy we talked.
Oh,
Mushel.
Motion.
Yeah.
where's my mushroom muscles?
Yeah, how do you say
Muscles.
mushrooms?
Pilze.
Pilza?
Pilze.
Yeah, that don't even got a sexy name.
Yeah,
Pilza. Mushel got a ring to it. It almost sounds like I got to do like an Italian. Mushel.
Motion. Okay, bro. I'm excited. First time I eat mussels in my life, and that's vegan ones, man. At some point, I'm gonna try the real ones. All right. Hey, may
Yeah, let's definitely say a prayer. Come on, fam.
may
Yeah,
all
sure,
hands
come on.
may all hands who are responsible for this food on the plate be blessed, and everybody that comes from their lineage and has been part of their lineage. So may every human being in the world be blessed. Amen.
Amen. I like that. The lineage speech. Hear that?
Look like this, huh? For Marvin. Take one. You know how to eat, no?
Of course.
Yeah, sure. You're pescatarian.
But I'm eating mine a little different because I got sauce. Let me get a little sauce.
You want more sauce? I have, right?
Yeah, sauce me up. Definitely sauce me up some more.
Thank you so much for preparing it, Gio.
Gio, appreciate you, fella.
Thank you.
All right.
You should check out his backyard. He's like a street cook. He always makes food in the backyard.
Oh, really?
With-
Yeah, my
gather everybody around, all the rappers, all the whatever cool people come around to the neighborhood, and we just hang out and eat in the backyard.
Oh, that's fire.
Until the cops come at some point, but until then, it's always fire.
So you live in a house here?
No, in the neighborhood I used to live in the same, like, how can I say, in a block?
Yeah, it's like a block.
Yeah.
Alright, man. I appreciate a lot that you showed up. Thanks for the good talk. I wish you all the best.
Thank
with
you, my
Collection
brother.
2.
Thank
And
you.
I hope that I see you on tour soon again.
I
It's
won't-
been a while since the last show I saw you. Were like 200 people here.
Oh, it's a little different now. Audience, maybe a little bigger now.
A little bigger. Wow.
I know the rest of my team is mad right now because I'm getting to eat and they can't eat.
No, I just put it in the
There's a
plate
lot,
for
right?
there's a
Everybody,
lot, but-
please join us. Everybody who's hungry.
Oh, there's muscles.